Hey everyone, and welcome. Ever wonder what really makes a smart device, well, smart? We're about to pull back the curtain on the surprisingly simple three-part blueprint that powers pretty much everything from your watch to a massive factory floor. You ready? Let's dive in.
So let's just kick things off with a question. Picture this. You've got this super important motor humming away in a factory. What if that machine could, raise its hand and say, hey, I think I'm about to have a problem before it completely breaks down? I mean, just think about the time, the money, the sheer headache you could save. Well, guess what? That's not science fiction anymore. It absolutely can. And that is the core promise of what we call the Internet of Things, or IoT for short. It's all about giving our physical world a digital voice.
Okay, so to really get how this works, we're not going to get bogged down in technical jargon. Instead, we're going to follow a single tiny piece of data, just one temperature reading from that factory motor on its incredible journey. We'll see how it goes from being just a potential problem to a real-world solution. And here's the really cool part. Almost every single IoT product, I don't care if it's a smart thermostat in your house or that predictive motor we're talking about, is built on the exact same three-part blueprint. It's so simple. You've got step 1, the node, that's what senses the world. Step 2, the network, that sends the message. And step 3, the cloud, which makes the decision. Senses, sends, decides. That's it. Let's break them down.
All right, first up, the node. This is ground zero for our data's journey. Think of it as the part of the system that actually lives out there in the physical world, right there on the noisy factory floor.
So what exactly is a node? Well, in simple terms, it's the device at the very edge of the system that's directly touching, measuring, or interacting with the physical environment. Whether that environment is a motor, or maybe a river you're testing for water quality, or even the soil in a smart garden, the node is the hands-on hardware doing the work. And if you were to crack one open, what would you find? Well, a typical node has a few key components. You've got a microcontroller, that's basically its mini computer, the brains of the operation. Then you have a sensor, which is like its sense organ. In our case, a thermometer or a vibration detector. Sometimes you'll find an actuator, which is the muscle that can actually do something. And finally, you need the connectivity hardware. That's its voice, how it talks to the network. Now, nodes pretty much come in two main flavors. You've got your sensor node. Its whole job is to just monitor, to watch and listen and report back. Think of it like a scout. Then you have the control node. Its job is to act, to flip a switch, turn a motor, basically to change something in the real world based on instructions it receives. So the key difference is this: one listens, the other does.
So, bringing it back to our factory motor example, what we're using here is a sensor node. Its one and only job is to constantly measure the machine's temperature and vibration, just gathering that raw, unfiltered data right there at the source.
Okay, so our node has the data. Awesome. But, data that just sits there on the device is, well, it's pretty useless, right? So now we have to move to the second layer of our blueprint, the network. This is the invisible highway that connects our sensor on the factory floor all the way up to the system's brain. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? Without connectivity, an IoT device is just a thing, a brick. The network is what literally puts the internet into the Internet of Things. It's absolutely crucial if you want to share that data and actually make it useful. And that connection can happen in all sorts of ways. You're probably familiar with the big ones like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, but in the IoT world, we also use other technologies like cellular, 4G or 5G for long-range communication, or even things like LoRaWAN and Zigbee, which are designed for super low-power, specialized sensor networks. So let's get back to our little piece of data. That temperature reading from the motor, once the node grabs it, gets all packaged up and sent flying down this digital highway. It leaves the noisy factory behind and heads out onto the internet on its way to its final destination.
And that final destination? That's our third and, honestly, most powerful layer, the cloud. This is where the magic really happens. It's where a simple number, a temperature reading, gets transformed from just raw data into actual actionable insight.
So when we say the cloud in the world of IoT, what are we talking about? It's basically a really powerful online server or a whole network of them. Its entire purpose is to handle these massive streams of data that are flowing in from maybe thousands or even millions of nodes out in the field, and then do something smart with all of it. Okay, so what are those smart things it does? Well, you can think of the cloud as having 5 main jobs. First, it collects all that incoming data. Second, it stores it all securely. Third, it visualizes it, maybe on a dashboard or an app so you can see what's going on. Fourth, and this is key, it analyzes the data to find patterns a human would totally miss. And finally, the most important part, it triggers real-world actions based on that analysis.
All right, the moment of truth. Let's put all 3 pieces, the node, the network, and the cloud, together and see the real payoff. We're going to watch our single piece of data complete its journey and actually solve the problem we started with. Okay, check out this timeline. It's 10 a.m., and the motor's temperature suddenly spikes. Just 1 minute later, at 10:01, the node senses this and immediately sends that data out over the network. By 10:02 a.m., the cloud's got it. Its smart algorithm crunches the number, compares it to historical patterns, and basically says, whoa, warning, this looks like it could lead to a failure. And then just 1 minute after that, an automatic alert is zapped directly to a maintenance engineer's phone.
And just like that, in the span of literally 3 minutes, a potential disaster was stopped in its tracks. We're talking days of downtime, maybe super expensive repairs, all of it completely avoided. And why? All because we gave a machine a voice. And more importantly, we listened to what it had to say.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this number, 3. That's really it. It doesn't matter if you're talking about a smartwatch, a smart home, or a smart factory. This simple, elegant 3-layer architecture of node, network, and cloud is almost always the engine running under the hood.
This blueprint, it's everywhere, and it's already changing our world, making things more efficient, safer, and way more responsive. So that just leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Now that you know the secret, now that you know how it works, what would you connect next?